I'm Antonio Rosario, and I'm a singer and guitarist in Mindfully Blind.
My name is Christopher Rosario. I'm the bassist for Mindfully Blind. Antonio is my youngest brother, so I've known him since he was born.
Christopher and I are brothers, and then Dan and I grew up together in elementary school.
I'm Dan Arndt. I play guitar, lead guitar for Mindfully Blind. Antonio and I grew up on the same street. We met in first grade. I met Jackson in sixth grade too, so we kind of go back a long time.
I'm Jackson Green, and I play the drums for Mindfully Blind.
I'm from Valparaiso, Indiana.
Valparaiso, Indiana.
Valparaiso, Indiana.
I'm from Valparaiso, Indiana. We're the same as all the other guys. So.
Beneath the surface, you scream.
So the band formed back in 2020 when COVID hit. We were all at home. Antonio, Dan, and Jackson all had their own band called Bristol Empire, and they were doing their thing, and they were all down here in Bloomington at school. And Antonio, me, and Dan had this band called Afrocast.
And so about a year into college when COVID hit, we all came home and decided to merge since there was so much crossover between the bands.
Actually, the album The Wanderer is mostly songs that were written for Afrocast that we reworked as a whole group to put out as our first album.
We had recently, we've gone through a lot of name changes.
Originally, we called ourselves Fire Sale.
There's a price tag on our decency. There's a fire sale on what's not free.
We were like, hey, let's just make sure there aren't any other artists called Fire Sale on Spotify, and there was. So we threw around the idea of being Fire Sale the band, or throwing around a bunch of other different names, and none of them stuck. And we were like, why don't we do...
Mindfully Blind was the title of one of the songs that Christopher wrote on the first album, and
we liked the song and we liked the name, and everybody was able to agree with it too. So.
A lot of the creative muscle is definitely Antonio and Christopher.
A lot of the songs, at least off The Wanderer, most of those started as bass lines. I brought those bass lines and those song ideas to Antonio and the rest of the band.
I wrote a lot of the songs and the main ideas and the outlines on piano. I kind of think of myself as the director of the band.
Antonio is a songwriting machine.
Antonio recently has been writing a lot.
Two, drum, go.
Me and also Dan as well. I think a lot of our responsibility or what we end up doing is kind of refining and, telling Antonio, this is cool, or hey, this is not good.
I kind of take ideas and mold them into things that are closer to the finished product.
I like that. I think that feels better.
We all kind of have a hand in what everybody else is doing. So if I have an idea for a bass part or drums, everybody's really open-minded and willing to accept ideas.
Okay, next time we have to go.
No song kind of gets written without everyone kind of getting their say in it.
It's definitely a huge time commitment.
So week to week, we have 3 practices scheduled a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
And do you have any other hobbies outside of music?
That's a good question. I gotta think about that.
Not really.
I go to school in the day, put my homework off, and then go to practice, and then have to do it before midnight. So I guess that's what I do.
School's a little bit tougher to balance, but we make sacrifices.
I had a management assignment due at 11, but we played it around 9, I think, and I get it done.
I'll be real with you, I have 2 essays due tonight. And I haven't exactly started. But I've been in this situation before and I've made it. It's been fine, so.
It's a balance, I guess.
Christopher handles most of the social media.
Instagram, Facebook, all that. If you're interacting with us, you're basically interacting with me. And I'm researching venues for us to play, emailing those venues, trying to get us booked at different shows.
It's definitely really fun. You get to spend time with your friends and make stuff that you're passionate about.
I'd like to emphasize that it means the world to me to be in this band, because these are not just my friends, they're my brothers, and they're the people that I want to write music with for as long as I can sustain writing music.
It's not any one of us kind of pulling that entire weight.
They are the perfect counterbalance to every idea I have. They make everything that we all come up with better.
My favorite aspect of performing in front of a crowd is just the feeling of playing with the members of my band, Dan, Christopher, and Jackson.
Our chemistry on stage is usually pretty solid.
It's might be something about their the body language on stage, or maybe how they're playing, what they're playing. There's a bit of an unwritten language, I think, of how we can communicate on stage, and that's it gets easier the more we play with each other, but also it's made easy by how well we know each other off stage.
When you make music with people that you love and care about, I think that it kind of shows in the work that you put out and show to people. I think that it's really apparent that we put a lot of time and effort into it, and it's easy to do that with people that you care about.
The biggest thing I've been working on this year as far as improving my performance has been really putting all of my heart and energy into it and hoping that that comes across. Performing with friends and family, my brothers, it makes the performance awesome. The chemistry's there in practice. We're able to hold each other accountable when we're missing parts without egos getting in the way, and it's just a really nice system.
My stage presence is pretty physical, whether it's head banging or just moving and grooving to what's going on. I'm just engaging with people, engaging with my bandmates, and yeah, that way you really lock in with everybody's energy, and I feel like that really helps a lot.
I never really played live shows in high school, so it's been a new skill for me, but I've made a lot of progress in that in the past year, and I think I used to play, kind of head down, kind of like this, kind of really kind of closed up, and kind of opening that up a lot, looking out, looking at the crowd, looking at the other members of the band. I think that and maybe even just adds a tiny bit of energy there. So those are some of the things that I do to try and engage more, try and present something more than just the sound.
So full Bloom Festival during Low 500 last year would have been late April 2022. It was a really cool event. This house called the Pine House, they put together a music festival with just local Bloomington bands, and we were playing, and already from the beginning of the set, people were like, play Fire Sale, play Fire Sale. We'll get there, don't worry. And as we got to Fire Sale, it starts with a bass intro, so I started playing the bass line, and Antonio got the crowd singing the bass line along with me. which was something that has never happened before. But so they were singing the bass line, and then Antonio started singing the verse, and it seemed like everybody in the front row was singing along with Antonio's lyrics. And our album that song's off of, The Wanderer, had just come out maybe a month before that. I mean, that had never happened to any of us before with any of our original songs, and it was just a really wild, electric moment where, wow, people, one, know who we are and know our songs, and three, know the lyrics. That was just, I don't know, very super humbling and really cool to see that people do enjoy the music that we put out. And it was just very affirming and reassuring that we're doing something right.
I think the Reef has something really special going on. It's a DIY house show venue, and they always pack the place out.
We just did another house show there about a week ago, and it was packed to the brim with people, like people on the stairs behind us that were there watching.
The people there are always excited to hear new music.
So one moment I remember specifically was a gig we played a few weeks ago, and it was the first or second time we played a song live. And there were people, by the time the third chorus came around, people were singing the lyrics to it. Which is pretty wild, because I remember the first time that people sang to our lyrics back after we released the first album, and that was kind of cool to hear. But having someone sing it, something we haven't released and that they've only heard in the past, 2 minutes of that song, and others singing it, it gives you a bit more confidence about maybe people really like this song once we get it recorded and released. So that was really cool to hear.
I'd say my favorite aspect of performing in front of a crowd is just being able to kind of show them something that we've put a lot of time into, a lot of work, and I think that they usually receive it really well. I kind of like seeing their reaction to the hard work that we put in.
I just really want us to be able to connect with people through our music in a way to when they're hearing it and experiencing it, that everything else just kind of falls away, and they can just be there and experience it and not have to think about, oh, I have this assignment due tomorrow, or
like, man, what a show. Like, kind of almost like a larger than life kind of moment.
When we perform, it's just kind of a culmination of all the work that we put in for that specific gig, but more so over the years that we've been playing together. It's been a long time now, and I think that we're finally starting to get pretty good, and the crowds are starting to see it. So I think that's maybe why people like coming to see our shows. We're comfortable with each other, and we're able to be honest and very communicative with each other, and know that we're all here for one another.
Even though we're not anything super crazy right now, we're just a local band, that's still fun. That's still something worthy of my passion and my time. So I'm pretty satisfied with things, but I'm willing to do more if that opportunity presents itself.
My ultimate goal for the band is to be the biggest band in the world. I just really want to impact people's lives with our music and play to everyone possible that can hear us. And I wouldn't rather play music or create music with anyone else, because they're my brothers. We've all been there for each other's biggest moments, each other's lowest moments, and at the end of the day, we've come out of it together. And I think because of that, we have the tools necessary and the process necessary to do whatever we want with music and really take it to the next level, which is the goal.
Thanks so much for Mindfully Blind. Sometimes it's just best to bite your tongue.